Hey!
This is JJ and Alex.
I made a name for myself. I told you I won't be denied.
As you wrap up your day, it's time to get your fix of the teams you live for and the sports you love. This is JJ and Alex, presented by G2G Bars on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
What's going on, everybody? Happy Wednesday afternoon to you. Thanks for being with us on the program. Alex, Kirry, Jeremiah, Jensen. Together we make up JJ and Alex. Oh, JJ just working through G2G bar number 1 of the day.
I brought my own in today.
I feel like, and you know, you do a pro move on the G2G bar. It's a pocket. It's a pocket situation. Warms it up.
I don't know if that's a good idea.
It is, actually. I like it because it's got those good fats in it.
Yeah.
And I could put the whole bar down like Joey Chestnut. Goes down easy. Whoop.
Yeah. So I think I just did that because I was walking in the building. I needed to put it somewhere. And then I pull it out. And yeah, it tasted like I had it in the microwave for about 45 seconds.
You know what? It's because you got that big old KSL Sports coat on. It's got all. It's like
it's cold in here.
It's like having a microwave on your body. Hey, welcome to the show.
I can heat my own food with my body weight.
Yeah, your body heat?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to invent a food line that you just invent by putting stuff in your pocket, and that's how it gets heated up. No need to. We
don't need appliances.
Yeah, put it under. But have you ever seen those like Indian street food Instagram videos? I go down that rabbit hole sometimes. Get those guys who are like sitting on a piece of bread and then throw it in the fryer. That's going to be me. All right.
What does the algorithm say about us?
I know there's some weird stuff that pops up. Mine is all sports and food stuff. That's it. It's just food and recipes.
That's accurate. That'd be accurate. If I had to guess, that would probably be accurate.
And I do the thing too where I'm like, I like that recipe. I'm going to send it to myself. And then I look at and then I see myself in the mirror as I walk by something in a building. I go, who are you? What are you? What's your problem? That's me. I've started to do that. I send myself Instagram recipes that I can try out on the weekend. It's like become a Studio 5. I've become like a segment on Studio 5, breaking it out. And I saw this on Instagram. I wanted you to try it. Like that's where I've gotten in my life. My goodness.
You start your own cooking show.
Oh, I like to cook. I'm one of those guys.
Can you do a cooking show on the radio?
Can you smell that? Oh,
hey,
if you were
listen,
here.
I got a great idea.
Oh, if you were
How
here.
about a cooking show on the radio?
If you were here. Oh, you hear that? You hear that? I think it's ready.
I think it's going to be a hit.
All right. Most of them are fails. Just watching people fail at baking sourdough bread and me laughing at them.
One of the things I like is
never
going
try
on
it
Instagram
myself.
is in watching the former chefs or current chefs break down some woman from, I don't know, Oklahoma, making like a casserole that makes like, what are you doing?
Yeah. They just put like a full tube of 10 pounds of ground beef in a crock pot and then they go.
And a thing of Velveeta.
Right. And then Gordon Ramsay
walk
be like,
away.
Gordon Ramsay's like, what we got here, love? What we got here, love?
Oh, don't do that. Don't do that.
What the F did you just put in that pot?
How long are you cooking that?
Oh, yeah, that's what we've gotten to. All right. Hey, G2G Bars. That's where we were jumping off. That's where it got us on this. G2G Bars, all natural ingredients and no preservatives make the G2G Bar the perfect protein bar. That's who brings you to this program every day. Let's get into the cut. We got some things to still go over here. It's getting to be that time of year where now we're going to dream of hypothetical situations that could happen in sports, or we look at the past and we say, oh, remember when that happened? Because it's not live. Things aren't happening right now live. We got to get through this together as we wait for football season to fire back up again. Am I right? Everything is just a moment where we can get ready for football season. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to jump in right here. Let's do it. The cut, top of the program.
It's time for the biggest story of the day. This is what made the cut with JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
And this portion of the show brought to you by Trajan Wealth, TRAJAN Wealth.com. That's Trajan Wealth for all your trusted financial needs and retirement. Trajan Wealth. All right, report card time. The arbitrary look at what the grading system in post-college football for your seasons. Now, I think that, I don't know, you tell me, JJ, and maybe it's because we have a hard time being able to go year to year and kind of remember, but this was one of the most topsy-turvy years, certainly in the Big 12 Conference, for how teams are supposed to play versus how they ended up.
Completely inverse.
And I think that it kind of happened that way. Obviously, your teams like Indiana were teams that just came out of nowhere. And that happens sometimes. We saw that with Mizzou a couple of years ago, right? Where you go, man, they ended up they get third place in the SEC, right? And you go, that's a team that should never be there, but they're there. And teams will do that sometimes.
SMU, how about them?
SMU, first year in the ACC. Everyone's like, they bought their way into that conference. Yeah, they bought their way in, and then they immediately went to
Ohio State isn't buying whatever they got this year. Give me a break.
I know.
Everyone's buying stuff right now. That's how it works.
And I'm really skeptical on when we're trying to look back and really understand how this thing went down and how this 2024-2025 football season went down. And there's a report card. There's a report card list, a grade for all 134 FBS teams. And we're going to go 134 through 128 this segment, and we'll just keep counting down all the rest of the day.
We hope to get through this by next Wednesday.
That's how we're going to get through the offseason. Stupid lists like this. No, we'll get through it, and we'll just break up some of these. Now, we do
have to mention you got Fs because that's interesting.
Yeah, and it's all. And if you're thinking to yourself, "Oh man," if you're a Utah fan, you might think, "Oh well, we got an F this year for sure." No, not even close. Passing grade. You Tommy Boy'd this thing.
Yeah, 2 Big 12 teams got D- or F. So
yeah,
Utah fan, feel good about yourself.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, yeah, they passed. All right, passing grade.
C's get degrees.
I love that when Tommy Boy goes, "Oh my, a D+. Oh my gosh, I passed." That was me in a nutshell in junior high as well. So, report card time. They have, this is basically the version of the tiered system,
yes.
Right? So let's go through some of these grades. And I think that as you start to look at and you evaluate the season, it's all based off of perspective. Because if it's your first year, Kalen DeBoer at Alabama, like he went 9-4, and they lost in their bowl game, right? They weren't nowhere near. They ended up ranked 17th, I think.
Yeah, it was. I used the word worst loosely because it's Alabama. The standard's high, but it was the worst season Alabama had since pre-Nick Saban. Right. Nick Saban never had a season like that.
Okay, 9-4, but let's be honest though.
That's great.
It is,
but not by their standard.
Not by their standard.
That's how the grading works.
But also, they went 9-4 after everything, and they still ended up 17th. Any other team goes 9-4 in the rest of this country, they're probably out, right?
Oh, I'd agree.
I don't know if there were any other teams that had that many.
They've always, and they've earned it, but they get the benefit of the doubt
for sure.
Every situation,
for
even
sure.
this.
So if you're Alabama, obviously a 9-4 season is not going to be, and it's all up against what the expectations are going into the season. Now, what should the expectations be for a first-year Kalen DeBoer? Part of it is we don't know. We don't know what to expect out of a first-year guy after you are replacing the best football coach maybe in the history of the game.
Yeah.
Certainly in college football. I mean, it's a crazy thing. So I think they ended up with a C+. So Alabama gets a C+ with 9 wins. It's a very different 9-win Colorado, who ended up in the A tier, by the way. So you have A+, A-, all the grading.
Two teams win 9 games, graded completely different.
Of course.
By the way, there's only 3 teams with 9 wins
in the top 25.
Every other team had double-digit wins.
Is South Carolina one of them?
Yes, 9-4.
So
they
again,
finished 2 spots below Alabama.
Below as in like 19th?
Correct.
Okay.
And Colorado was 25th. Those are the only 9-win teams in the top 25.
And Shane Beamer, the head coach at South Carolina, like he should be pretty proud of what he's putting together there, I think, at South Carolina. I mean, think about it, too. They were pretty close.
They're never good.
I know, and they were pretty close to, what, Lou Holtz didn't take them to greatness? What are you talking about?
Hey, you get extra points for knowing that Lou Holtz coached there at one point in time. You get a bonus points.
Oh, you know how we are. We're all degenerates.
Name a South Carolina coach from the past. Go.
Yeah.
You nailed it.
Yeah,
you win.
Lou Holtz. So,
they were 2 spots away from the playoff.
Yeah, and that was a team that people made an argument for at the end. Now, they lost their bowl game, and they got in a fight with – who did they play in the bowl game? Was it Arkansas? Who were they playing? Anyway, they got in a fight at the end of the game.
Illinois.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, the coaches got
Frank
into
Bielema
it, which was fun.
and Shane Beamer getting into it at the end of the game. So, regardless of all those things, what I'm saying is you're graded. It's just like the kid who doesn't get good grades normally and does pretty good on a test. That teacher goes, Gosh dang it, Alex. Great job. B+, man. And then there's the kid who gets A's in every class, and then he shows up and kind of gives it a half A performance, but he gets the A- because, the teacher's like, I expect more out of you, brother. Mm-hmm. And that happens. So here's some of the grading. Let's just go with some of the hits here off the top. So Arizona State gets an A+. I mean, of course, right? Boise State gets an A+. Now, not a lot of teams got A+ out of the 134 teams on this list. The only A+ are Arizona State, Boise State, Indiana, and SMU. Now, SMU with an A+ was a bit of a shock for me. Because that...
Really?
Yeah, because I thought they had an awesome season, but at the same time...
They made the playoff.
They did make the playoff.
They're SMU.
Yeah,
they made the playoff.
Maybe that's it.
They were in the AAC 2 years ago.
Maybe that's just the end of it. They just go. They made the playoff.
Those are 4 teams that nobody expected to be in the playoff, and they did it.
Right.
That's just they played way above expectations.
Okay. So Ohio State's not an A+, by the way. They're the national champions. They didn't get an A+. Is that a bit weird? Don't you just automatically give an A+ to the team that wins the national championship?
It's funny. You talked about grading on a curve, and you talk about that kid in the classroom that didn't take it very serious, but still ended up getting 100% on the test.
Yeah.
But you know they were even better than that.
I expected more out of you.
I can make a case. This is weird, okay? So Ohio State, the national champion. They went 14-2.
Notre Dame 14-2, and they got an A also, not an A+.
And Notre Dame's not going to get docked for losing at home to Southern Illinois?
Northern Illinois. Get your directions right.
Directional school, Illinois. Ohio State won the national championship. Yeah. Obviously, you'd probably give them an A, but they wanted Ohio State fans wanted Ryan Day fired a month ago, and I'm supposed to sit here and say that they deserve an A? Like, they won the national championship, and you can say they underachieved this year because they have that $20 million payroll for their NIL.
You are speaking insane right now.
Once they actually had to get serious, they absolutely crushed everybody in the playoffs.
You won the national championship. Why did that
team not play like that against Michigan? Why did that team not play like that in the regular season? They had close games in the regular season where you're like, is Ohio State really taking this serious? So yeah, it's hard to not give the national champion an A, but they should have played better this year. They were that good.
You're insane right now.
You can make an argument that's one of the best teams we've seen. They're right up there with 2020 LSU. Which year was it? Joe Burrow's year. 2019 LSU. Yeah. They're right up there with 2019 LSU as far as dominant teams.
So you don't give them an A+ because they lost? Because
they don't deserve it. They didn't earn it.
National champion. Yeah, but I expected more out of you. Come on, what? What do you mean expected more out of them?
14 and what? Did they go what did Michigan do last year?
You are the guy who
Michigan went 15-0 last year.
You're the guy who
They get an A. Ohio State almost missed the playoff completely.
Okay, I'll be JJ a couple weeks ago, and you don't need to win. You don't need to have an undefeated season to be a great team. All right, that's my JJ.
That's a horrible impression, by the way.
I know it is, but it's...
Do I really sound like that?
It's like when my wife
does
an impersonation
self-conscious.
Of me.
Are you doing me or your wife doing you?
I'm
confused.
It's like Rocky and Bullwinkle. Oh.
Hey, boo-boo-boo. Now I'm Yogi the Bear.
All right. Okay, regardless. They still get an A. They still won the national championship. I just don't know why you don't put them at the very top of the list. Arizona State, I get it.
Because everybody expected Ohio State to win a national championship. Everybody expected this.
So they won the national championship.
They did exactly what everybody expected to do.
In poor form.
The only shock is they weren't playing Georgia. They were playing Notre Dame instead.
But you could have done it better. And you beat a Notre Dame team that we didn't think was as good as we thought they could have been. All right, fine.
I'm the dad who doesn't think his son's good enough ever.
Well, but
there's nothing you can do to make dad proud.
Here's why, to me, I mean, I don't even like Ohio State, but Ohio State being in the same tier as UNLV, like, come on, right? So Ohio State, UNLV, those are teams that have A's. Notre Dame, they're an A team, not A+. Iowa State got an A grade. Okay, Colorado got an A grade. Go down to the next tier because BYU got an A-.
You didn't mention Sam Houston.
Oh, sorry. The Wildcats.
What did they do?
What are they, Bobcats? They're a cat of some sort, right? BYU played them last year, didn't they?
Yeah, I hope they're learning how to score.
Second year in FBS, and they won 10 games, so good for them.
Oh.
Oregon was 13-1, by the way, and they got an A, not an A+. But again, like I said, Iowa State and Colorado being in the A tier to me seems a little bit much because it's a 9-4 Colorado team. I get that their expectations were different, right? They were only won 4 games last year. I'm not saying now A- tier. This is the A-
I wouldn't
tier.
give Colorado an A either.
I don't think especially
they didn't show up for their bowl game. They were in the driver's seat like BYU to go to the Big 12 championship game, and they blew it. They lost to Kansas.
Well, and think about how they got housed by Nebraska, who actually wasn't a very good team either.
Right.
Very
Nebraska
right off the bat.
barely made bowl eligibility.
Right. So BYU's 11-2 and in the A- category, along with Duke, Buffalo, Georgia. Georgia, compared to expectations, like they probably
I would give
be
them
like
a B-.
Yeah. Memphis, Navy, Penn State, A- for Penn State, who was in the college football semifinal. All right, fine. So you have Colorado behind Penn State on this. Now it's not ranking, but it's expectations, right? South Carolina is a 9-4 team, but they get an A-. Tennessee with 10 wins, an A-. Texas 13-3 with an A-.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Couldn't
I know
beat Georgia, can't give them an A.
I know that they were in the college football. Both of the other teams in the college football semifinal got A- because that's for Texas. By the way, this is the best Texas has been in a long, long time.
Yeah, it is.
These last 2 seasons,
they finally lived up to the expectations that their fan base has had for them for 30 years.
they're playing in the national semifinal the last 2 years.
Yeah,
and
good for Sark.
This is as good as they've been in a long, long time, despite the fact that people expect way. By the way, Vanderbilt at 7-6, they gave an A-. You know what? Though they deserve it with that. Just the Alabama win. If they would have been 4,
oh yeah,
if they would have been 4-9,
Vanderbilt having a winning season is an A.
I love it.
And beating Alabama. Did BYU get graded fairly?
I think that they could have been in that A category, knowing that Colorado and Iowa State were there from the Big 12. Like honestly, Colorado and Iowa State, those are the teams you put in the A category from the Big 12.
And I agree. Iowa State and Colorado should have been in the A- tier.
Yeah, I don't necessarily want to graduate BYU to A, but I think that Colorado and Illinois and Iowa State should probably come down.
I couldn't give BYU an A either. A- is great. You just that Kansas game, man, it just still bothers me.
I have a daughter who do you have one of these kids that like they're the ones who get all the good grades? I have a daughter who doesn't get anything less than an A. Okay,
Good for her.
So an A- for her, she's crying about it.
Right.
A- for BYU fan, don't be crying about it. All right.
Everybody thought you guys were going to get a C.
A- as a Texas fan, you're crying.
Right.
Because you're used to like a year like that, you should be right up there. So let me skip all the way down because for the other local teams, I'm going to be honest. I thought based off of just some of those rankings that I saw right there, I thought, okay, where am I really going to put? Where do I put? Because like Alabama has a C. Houston got a C at 4-8. I don't know how they got a C, but I guess they kind of turned it on a little bit later. They were supposed to be worse than they were. All right. But those are your C teams. Even Washington, 6-7, they get a C. C- is where I want you to find yourself. I think at this point, the graders got sick of all 134 teams, putting them in spots.
Yeah.
I think they got a little bit loose because UTEP at 3-9 is in the same C- category as Utah State at 4-8. And their season, by the way, I think that's probably about right because of all the things that went on in the offseason and where they were and then where they are now. I think that's probably about right for them. A 4-8 season and the ups and downs that they had, fine, C-. Utah State, and UTEP are all in the same C- category.
And USC.
If you are a Utah fan and you're grading yourself honestly, was last year a C- season? Was last year a C- season for Utah?
At best.
At best.
They were supposed to win the Big 12. It was supposed to be the Cam Rising show. They were supposed to be rolling it back with all this talent.
Do you remember what Vegas had their win-loss total at? 10.5.
Yeah.
11 in some cases. And they ended up with 5, right?
It was disappointing. So, yeah, you can't give them any better than that. You could make a case that they're probably in the D category.
Right. And the injuries kills you.
There's
right?
some other teams that struggled that finished well below expectations in the Big 12 that are down in the F column.
Worse teams in the Big 12. Arizona with a D-, fitting, and I think appropriate. And then Oklahoma State was the lone team from the Big 12 with an F grade. They don't do an F+? I guess
don't think that's a thing.
I think if they did the F+, they would have to have done an F-.
F+?
They could have done an F-, and they would have been in that category too. So they were very strict about who was getting into the F category and the A+ category. In the F category is Kent State, which you didn't even know they existed this year.
Right.
And they went 0-12. Florida State at 2-10, maybe the worst turnaround from an undefeated team last season during the regular season, and ACC champions, to a 2-10 record. And then Oklahoma State 3-9, of course, ending the season on a 9-game losing streak, including all 9 conference games. Okay, so those are your gradings, and I'm fine with it. It's fine. I think they're about right. But we have certain expectations for programs. And so now BYU fans should be extremely excited, which is ironic, too, because a lot of those BYU students also didn't get A- in high school. Can't get in there anymore with an A-. So there you go. I don't know.
Well, BYU got an A-. It wasn't good enough for the college football playoff. Have to have A's.
I get it. Yeah. Yet UNLV, Colorado, Iowa State.
The expectations for those programs are so low.
I guess so.
This is Iowa State's first double-digit win season.
Sure.
Ever, right? Ever.
Yeah.
Iowa State's never been sometimes, but usually they're not bad.
But their best
they're rarely good.
The reason they got that
They've always been mid.
The reason they got that extension for Matt Campbell a few years ago was because of the COVID year. And BYU fans could tell you also, COVID years sometimes were a little inflated.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So Iowa State, best season ever as a member of the Big 12.
You have to give them an A. They got to the Big 12 championship game. UNLV and Colorado have been punchlines for a long time. UNLV longer than Colorado. I mean, unless
the Randall
Cunningham's your quarterback, UNLV doesn't win.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm fine with them giving them A's, even though they weren't in the playoff or conference champions or anything like that.
Hey, did you see, by the way, that Tirico's going to be your NBA voice on NBC?
Great choice.
It's great.
I've met Mike. He's terrific. He's a very nice guy.
Syracuse grad, I'm assuming?
He is.
He is. All those guys. All those guys, man. All right. We'll take a break. All the ESPN brass from back in the day. The original, he started off on ESPN. I watched Mike Tirico on SportsCenter for so dang long.
Yeah. He looks the same. He
looks the exact same. And you know what? He's as good as anybody.
Yep, he's smooth.
So there you go. All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back. I don't know what we were yelling about, but I apologize. It's just we're just like an old couple, JJ.
Yeah.
I don't know what we were fighting about, but it's not worth it.
We're now at the point where Alex thinks I talk like this.
It is like a weird marriage.
I talk like a cartoon character.
I actually want you to do that the rest of our careers.
Should I do a whole 2-hour show just like this? I bet you'd like that.
For me personally, I like it.
Everybody listening would just love that.
Never stop. Okay.
I'm an idiot.
I wish we would have gotten that clean. Okay, we'll take a break. We'll come back. We've got more to go right around the corner. Don't want to miss any of it. When we return, we've got ourselves an NFL mock draft, our first one from Mel Kiper.
Sweet.
First one on the list here. Where do guys like Shedeur end up? What teams are they going to end up on? Mel Kiper's got the word next right here, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
Ladies and gentlemen, the biggest name.
You're locked into JJ and Alex. With the insight and analysis on the teams you can't live without. Presented by G2G Bars. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Welcome back, JJ and Alex, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone. If you go over to the contest page at KSLSports.com, you can find a chance to win jazz tickets, hockey club tickets, concert tickets, and more. And then this week, we're also going to be doing some tickets to the Utah Boat Show and Water Sports Expo. It's happening next week at the Mountain America Expo Center there in Sandy. Visit KSLSports.com for your chance to win. Get some tickets there. We're going to be there, I think, one of those days as well. So catch us over there. Hey, the mock drafts are up. Mel Kiper, the Count Chocula of NFL draft coverage, is delivering.
He's my favorite Muppet.
He does have That widow's peak is still strong. So he's doing the thing where I know that when you roll out and you're doing these mock drafts and you're expected to, you're the expert. And yet at the same time, a rogue GM or a weirdo owner or a funky head coach will pull some weird strings, and it always makes it a little bit dramatic for the NFL draft. And the mock draft seems like it's just kind of a plug-and-play situation for Mel Kiper, but you've got some weird decisions to make. Number 1 overall pick, of course, is the Tennessee Titans. Here's what Kiper's got for his top draft, his draft order kind of coming out of this thing. It's the very first. It's a banner day because it's the very first of a long season of mock drafts that we get to mock draft 4.5. We start doing all that. So the Tennessee Titans with pick number 1, he's got them taking out of Miami, Cam Ward, quarterback. That seems about right. That's where all of the energy and branding and the marketing that goes around. Cam Ward's name has been moving up that list, and he definitely has all those tools. People love his calm in the pocket. They like what he looks like from an arm strength standpoint, and that guy has come a long way from Incarnate Word to Washington State to Miami to being the number 1 overall quarterback possibly taken in the draft and number 1 overall pick.
I feel like we have another Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels situation here.
Oh, the amount of oh boy, you should have taken so-and-so.
Which one is going to be the better NFL quarterback?
Yeah. So the number 2 pick is to the Cleveland Browns, and he has them taking Heisman Trophy winner and possible two-way guy in the NFL, Travis Hunter. Travis Hunter going to the Cleveland Browns. Good for them. Great. Fine.
I feel like their biggest need is quarterback, though.
Who is even going to play quarterback for him? Because Deshaun Watson retore his Achilles. They're like...
Jameis is a free agent.
And Jameis is kind of not the answer anyway.
No,
right?
Clearly not. What are they going to do?
You had a game and a half where you felt really good about Jameis. I like that guy.
He's a great dude. He's fun, and by all accounts, he's amazing in the locker room, as you've seen. But
listen,
the dude throws picks.
He'll throw for 400 yards, but he'll throw 4 picks in the process.
He throws picks, and sometimes they go pick 6.
Yeah,
it's just he turns the ball over too much. That's always been his problem. Speaking of number 1 overall picks, who I guess didn't reach their potential. He's had a nice career, but not up to the number 1 standard. That's a spot where I could see somebody trading. The Browns need a quarterback, but I don't think that they're going to get number 2 overall pick value out of any of these guys. Maybe the Browns go the free agent route with quarterback, so Sam Darnold could be available.
And, it would not be a bad pick or a bad pickup for him because Sam Darnold, you can get him on the cheap probably right now, a lot cheaper than you could have gotten him a few months ago, right?
Yeah.
A couple of months ago.
You're not going to have to pay $55 million a year to get him.
So I think you're going to get, if you get a guy like Sam Darnold and you're paying him $35 million a year, you're going to feel pretty good about it.
I think Cleveland should go that route.
You sign him for 2 years, and then an option year, boom, got it.
Here's the other thing about Cleveland is you've got a defensive end who's one of the best in the league who wants to win now. I think the Browns are the perfect candidate to do something at that number 2 spot, maybe trade down to try to get more assets so they can add more talent and then go the free agent route with quarterback. I don't think that they – I wouldn't take Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders 1 or 2.
No, and Cleveland gets burned.
Travis Hunter's a unique talent, but is that what Cleveland needs right now?
Well, I think what they're looking at is they could go, hey, we're at least going to get an elite defender, elite defender, and then maybe we even add him into some of those offensive packages. And at the very worst, we get an amazing marketing tool. we get some pub, man.
Look, Travis Hunter's a stud, man. He's amazing.
I think that, look, the Cleveland Browns have an okay defense, and I will tell you that the offense is a decent quarterback away from doing a little bit of damage at least. It's just a mess of a franchise, and I get it. And I think Travis Hunter would be a safe pick for him. Now, you've got the Giants who are going to be on the clock. And, of course, you know what's been floating around this week? Because, and if you're one of these teams, don't freaking record these. Don't record for documentary purposes the video of you meeting with Jaden Daniels last year. and Dable sitting down with him. Did you see this video?
No.
So Jaden Daniels comes in. He's just going around visiting teams, pre-draft interviews.
Yeah.
Sits down in Dable's office. Dable goes, "Okay, let's get the BS out of the way. Do you want to be here?" "Yeah, I want. Yeah. I mean, do you want to be here in New York? And you want to be here in this meeting right now?" "Yeah, I'd love it. This is great." "Okay. I'm glad we got that out of the way. We don't know if we want to take a quarterback, but, you know, he was definitely talking down to Jaden Daniels.
That's not a good look a year later.
It's not good a year later.
Boy.
Don't record those conversations.
Yeah, don't do that.
So this is already a Giants organization that's getting trashed.
How arrogant does Brian Dable
Let's
have
get
to
the
be?
BS out of the way. Do you even want to be here right now, kid? He's like, and he's got like a playbook in his hands. He's got like Giants gear on. Okay, that's hard to look at if you're a Giants fan because you're like, he's wearing a Giants t-shirt in our building, and you let him go, and you didn't even think about picking him up.
How does Dable still have a job?
I don't know. They kept both their. Well, did they end up firing the GM? They kept both the coach and the GM.
No, they kept them both.
Yeah. Well, good for them.
It's a very patient organization.
Some consistency, right?
Patience in New York is rare.
Well, so they have Kuiper's got them taking Shedeur. Abdul Carter, outside linebacker, insane edge rusher. I think he led the entire country in tackles, or in sacks, right?
He at one point he might still be the number one rated prospect in this draft.
24 TFLs this year for Abdul Carter. Not bad.
I would, if I was, he should be taken ahead of these quarterbacks because none of these quarterbacks, in my opinion, are franchise-changing guys.
You at least know what you're going to get. Like so.
Abdul Carter is a franchise-changing player.
Yes, and so you get an insanely talented left tackle or an insanely talented edge rusher. Like you can at least take that to the bank most of the time. So Abdul Carter, they have him going 4th overall to the Patriots. Vrabel probably licking his chops thinking about that. Jacksonville, the Jaguars, taking in this mock draft Mason Graham, defensive tackle out of Michigan. The Raiders, he's got the Raiders taking Tet McMillan out of Arizona. I mean, he's definitely...
Who's going to throw to him?
He's definitely...
They got a new GM today. He's going to have to figure out who's going to coach him and who's going to throw to him because I love Ted McMillan. The guy's a freak. And you know what? I don't hate it at 6. I mean, you look at Malik Neighbors last year and Harrison Jr. Those were good picks.
How long is Aiden O'Connell going to be out with the leg injury?
Oh, jeez.
Let's get him back.
Can you imagine? You've got Brock Bowers at tight end.
Tet McMillan
at wideout.
Oh,
you just got to find a quarterback that can spin it to him.
And
you're in business.
And then you have Max Crosby on defense.
Right.
And you can't win a dadgum game in your freaking division.
They've got to go get a quarterback, and I don't know how they're going to get it. I don't. But Ted McMillan at 6 is interesting. You just got to have a guy to get him the ball.
Could you? I just am picturing. Sam Darnold in the black and silver would be really funny. I mean,
that might be the best they can do in this offseason.
Look, he's going to be a really nice free agent.
Do you want me to run off a list of NFL
Give me the quarterbacks
agents?
who are free agents and are available. Winston, obviously.
Sam Darnold. Zach Wilson.
All right.
Trey Lance. Jacoby Brissett. Taylor Heineke. Jameis Winston.
Okay, I thought about this the other day.
Andy Dalton.
Have you seen the backup commercials that they've been doing? I don't know. It's like an insurance company.
Yeah.
McCoy.
Jacoby Brissett's one of them.
Jacoby Brissett's one of them. I'm like, you can't do as an active player. You can't. Don't do this.
He started games this year for the Pats,
and then they're all. And he's doing the backup quarterback commercials. I'm like, hey,
you know
guy.
What? Jacoby Brissett's like, hey, they're paying their checks clear, right?
Well, not only that. At some point, you kind of make a business decision and go, hey, you know what? I kind of want to be a career backup. How much did Chase Daniels make?
Hey, Jacoby Brissett made $8 million last year.
I know. And he's healthy. You know what he is? He's not in concussion protocol currently. So there you go. But I thought about that when they were playing these quarterbacks. It's like, it's one thing to bring in Colt McCoy, who's not going to be in the league anymore, or whomever, to be the backup. But I was like, Jacoby Brissett started games this year, and he's got a career where he wants to be a starter. You can't be in the backup quarterback commercials. All right? Okay. Was that it for the list of free agent quarterbacks?
That's the best. That's the cream of the crop. I mean, Drew Lock.
Well, then we're probably there.
Justin Fields.
He's
Tyler Huntley.
Yeah,
is going to be a free agent.
I could see Huntley in some Raiders gear. Come on.
Why not?
Yeah. Okay, so they've got Tet McMillan at 6. Michael Williams out of Georgia. They're insane outside linebacker there. Jalen Walker out of Georgia going to Carolina at number 8. Will Johnson, cornerback out of Michigan, probably the best corner in the entire draft besides maybe Travis Hunter. Will Campbell, there's your first offensive tackle being taken out of LSU for the Bears. 49ers, Kelvin Banks Jr. The Cowboys picking up Luther Burden III, who's a wideout at Missouri. These are all Mel Kiper's picks, of course, for these guys. Malachi Starks to Miami out of Georgia. The Colts taking Tyler Warren, the tight end out of Penn State. That's the guy who won the whatchamacallit? What's the
tight end award?
Yeah, the Mackey, John Mackey. Yeah, well, I don't know why it slipped my mind.
Best tight end in the country.
Best tight end in the country. So Tyler
Not
Warren
even
going to coming out of Penn State going to the Colts. That's a nice pickup for them. If he's going to fall that far, that'd be a nice pickup. Shamar Stewart out of Texas A&M going to Atlanta. The Cardinals picking up Tyler Booker. The Bengals picking up Jihad Campbell out of Alabama. Armin Membu, tackle out of Missouri, going to the Seahawks according to this mock draft. Nick Emenwari out of South Carolina, safety out of South Carolina, going to Tampa Bay according to this. Ashton Jeanty, running back, going to your Broncos.
That'd be fun.
Is he the first running back that we've seen on this?
Yes.
So first running back taken, 20th overall.
Yep.
Imagine where we've come with that position.
We were at the point where you weren't seeing running backs taken in the first round.
Well, but you know what?
The resurgence is pushing that up.
But the resurgence is two guys who are like massive.
Jahmyr Gibbs had a pretty good season too.
Oh, that's true.
But there's a handful of guys, and Christian McCaffrey probably would have been in that range had he not been hurt. But yeah, it's two crazy seasons in the same year by two of the all-time greats.
If there are any other crazy pickups here by the end? So yeah, we'll leave it at that.
It's not a great draft.
No,
it's not a draft where there's going to be a big push for somebody to move up and
those
get
top
anybody.
5 are going to be interesting because you're gonna want to see where Cam
wonder
Ward,
how many of
Shedeur
those
Sanders,
quarterbacks are going to go and where.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I hope Lloyd's Raiders get Tet McMillan, man, and then they sign Sam Darnold, Steady Eddie. Come on. Or Jacoby Brissett. All right, let's take a break. We'll come back. When we do, we have some Would You Rathers. I'll roll some things out here for JJ. And then top of the hour, Mike Folta, Utah Hockey Club radio play-by-play voice, going to join us and talk to you about this Utah Hockey Club that have a couple of insanely tough road games coming up, including Thursday and Friday, Minnesota and Winnipeg. Those are two places that are very warm this time of year. So stick around.
Tough road trip.
And really, really tough teams. More to go. 97.5 KSL Sports Zone.
Listen, everybody. Real-life hypotheticals to get your brain churning. As JJ and Alex ask, would you rather?
All right, everybody, welcome back. JJ and Alex, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone. Shortened show today thanks to some Jazz basketball. Pre-game firing up at 5 o'clock. Yes, right here on the KSL Sports Zone. Your radio home of the Utah Jazz. And of your Utah Hockey Club as well, by the way. We got tickets to give away right now? Oh, yeah, we do. What do we have? It's a Win Ticket Wednesday. You call right now, 801-575-ZONE. You win a pair of tickets to Chris Stapleton's All-American Road Show coming this summer to Utah First Credit Union Amphitheater on August 16th. So that's in August. Get yourself ready for it. Call number 12, 801-575-ZONE. Pair of tickets to see Chris Stapleton. That should be awesome. You just heard the promo for it.
He's incredible live.
Yeah, I bet it would be.
Saw him live last summer. He's great.
Check it out, 801-575-ZONE. It's all part of a Win Ticket Wednesday. Real quick, would you rather? I was watching Caitlin Clark sitting next to Tay-Tay up in the booth in Kansas City this weekend. Add her to the list of reasons why I guess you gotta hate the Chiefs. I read this whole article about how Chiefs fatigue is real.
Oh yeah, I'm feeling it.
They were like saying how even the players in the league are like, oh
yeah.
boy, ugh.
Not again.
I get it. They hate us because they ain't us, right?
Are you talking about the Chiefs or the refs? One and the same.
Both.
They're all in the same organization.
So it would be annoying, but it would be really freaking cool to be up in that, whatever that suite is.
Oh, I'm sure the food's amazing.
Okay, there's that. So, and if you were sitting next to her, you would get an automatic bump. Your Instagram likes would go up. Okay, JJ, just what you want.
It's great for marketing.
In the booth with Taylor Swift next to her, maybe explaining some of the nuances of the game to her. Yeah, they cut and they go, "Who's this guy?" But you're sitting right next to her and you're going, and you're pointing, and you're going, "Oh yeah," you're saying all this stuff. Next to Jack Nicholson, courtside, at a Lakers game.
Oh, I want to sit next to Jack.
Or next to Spike Lee at a Knicks game.
Ooh. I bet Spike Lee at a Knicks game is insufferable. Because he never
Reggie
sits
Miller
down.
thinks
He's
so.
constantly yapping.
Reggie Miller
There's
thinks
a
so.
reason why Reggie and Spike got into it during the playoff runs back in the 90s.
You'd want to sit next to One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
You know what? Jack seems to me like he's just a big giant jerk. Oh. I don't think he would want to talk or share any stories.
I bet it'd be fun though, because he'd be like, I'm not saying accidentally plunked there. He invites you. Spike Lee invites you. Taylor Swift invites you.
I'm going Jack.
Okay. All right. I'm Taylor Swift 1,000%. I'm like, that's crazy. You should let me open for you at the, oh, you sing? No, but just let me stand out there and say, hey, and then pay me a couple million. That'd be great. All right, there you go. We'll come back. Mike Folta, Utah Hockey Club.
I'd ask her if I could be her roadie.
Hey, can I carry your speakers around there for you?
Check. Sibilance.
I could crash a
Does that
golf.
just pass the test?
I could crash a golf cart into a wall, like anybody else, with the best of them. If you need me to drive you around the tunnels of some stadium and crash it into a wall, I'll do it. All right, let's take that break. Mike Folta, Utah Hockey Club Radio play-by-play voice, going to join us next. Let's talk about some Utah Hockey Club hockey next. 97.5 EKSL Sports Zone.